So, I am back with a video. I'm here to film a catch up on what I've been reading for the Newts. Yeah. So, at the beginning of the month, I posted my Newts Readathon TBR, and I have completed my Newts Readathon TBR, and we are on the 16th of the month, which is ridiculous, to say the least. I've never read this fast in my life, yet I finished all 7 books that I selected for myself. So naturally, I'm going to go through all 7 books that I've read, and I'm going to tell you what I thought about them, which prompts they fulfilled, all of that. And then I'm going to talk about the other 3 that I have selected. I've selected 3 more for the month, which will take me to 10 books read in the month, which is mental, completely mental. So that is my plan. So, to start off, we're going to jump right into the books that I've finished reading for the Newts, and then we're going to go on to the other ones that I selected, which also fit into the Newts, just an FYI. So, the first book that I finished in this half of the month was Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I gave this 3.5 stars. I did really enjoy this book. I gave this 3.5 stars because it was slow. Parts of this book was slow, and I thought maybe it could do with being sped up. But other than that, I really loved it. I really want to read the rest of the series, and yeah. So this book follows Cleo, who is essentially on a quest to stop a war from happening. And this book follows Cleo, a rebel and a sorceress. Cleo, a rebel and sorceress. It says a princess on the back, but we know that the princess is Cleo. As they discover what is happening in the world and in their world, and not coming together. They don't even come together. They just fall upon what is happening, and they each have different ideas of what should be done. And this was amazing. I loved it. Don't take the 3.5 stars to say that I didn't like it, because I did. I loved it. I literally gave it 3.5 stars because it was slow. This fulfilled the prompt for herbology, and that was green on the cover, I believe. And it has green on the cover. So I believe it was green on the cover that it was for. Yes, green on the cover. Fantastic. So, after that, I picked up An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This fulfilled the prompt for a gorgeous cover for the charms. It's because it has a gorgeous cover, I believe. Oh gosh. Yes, it was. It was for a gorgeous cover for the charms. It's fine. It's fine. No, wait, I messed up. I'm fairly sure I messed up. I've messed up. Not completely. This, I think I deleted, just put them in the wrong place. Yeah, no, I messed up. I'm reading the wrong sections. This was for a book starting with A, because it's an Enchantment of Ravens. Reading completely wrong sections. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I loved Isabel's character. She was I don't even know how to describe her. She was determined. By the end of the book, she was determined that she didn't want these things to happen, and the prince that comes into her life, he understands that, and he makes sure that things don't happen, and it's amazing. Yes, I gave this 4 stars simply because I wanted more time with these characters, and this is such a short book that you just don't get the time with them. If this was longer, it's say the size of Sorcery of Thorns, which I will talk about later, If this was longer, I feel like maybe it would have been 5 stars. Literally just on the length that this book is 4 stars. Moving on. We're up to my third read, which was Peter Pan by MJ Barrie. I read this for the E in Charms. No. The E in Care of Magical Creatures, which was a book under 300 pages, because this book is 207. Now, I gave this book 1 star. I really did not like this book. I read this in a day simply because I forced myself to get through it. I just wasn't meshing with the story. I know the story of Peter Pan. I've seen the film and everything. I just did not like the book. I just didn't like the characters. I didn't like how they were portraying themselves. Could not wait to finish this book. I really didn't like it. 1 star. Moving on to book number 4 of the readathon, which was Caught by Harlan Coben, and this was for the E in Herbology. So this finished off Herbology for me, for what I needed, and this was for a book between 350 and 390 pages. This book was 380, so it just fit into that category. I gave this book 3 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the premise. I've written in yellow. I don't know why I've done this. Oh, that was it. I gave this book... I said, that was it, like I just don't remember. If I'd have just given myself time, it would have come to me, but I'm filming a video, so it just doesn't happen. I gave this book 3 stars. I really did enjoy this book, and I'm going to read more of his work. However, I felt like it wasn't enough for me to bump it up to 4 or even 3.5, because I predicted what the ending of the story was going to be. I predicted who was the bad guy, essentially, who was causing all of the problems, and that never happens to me. I've never predicted the twist in a book before, and I feel like because I did, it wasn't a great book for me. If I predict an ending, I just feel like it's not a good book, and I don't know why. It was a good book though. I just felt that the storyline lied flat. Like it was really in your face who the bad guy was in the whole book, and I didn't like that. Other than that, I did enjoy the book, but yeah, I will be reading more of his work. But 3 stars. And this was my 4th book of the owls that I needed to the newts that I needed to complete. Then I picked up Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I absolutely love this book, obviously. This book fulfilled the O for this fulfilled the prompt for O for Care of Magical Creatures, which is a bird on the cover, because Fawkes is on the cover and it fits. So yes, I gave this book 5 stars, obviously, because it's an amazing story, and I just love this book so much. There is just, yeah, if you don't know the story of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I'm not going to go into it because you should know the story of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. But this is the 2nd book following Harry Potter at Hogwarts. And yes, I love this book. Swiftly moving on to the next one. So the 6th book I picked up and literally finished like 2 hours ago was fantastic. Amazing book. I am highly regarding Margaret Rogerson to be one of my all-time favourite authors. She's only written 2 books, and any other book that she brings out I will probably read, because Sorcery of Thorns was amazing. I gave this book 5 stars, to say the least. It was fantastic. I know some people have not been liking this book, and I don't really know why. People are saying that they can't get into it, but I got into this pretty quickly. I'm not sure if it's because I was reading 100 pages at a time or what, but I absolutely fell into this book and I loved it so, so much. And this fulfilled the prompt for an A in Charms, which was a gorgeous cover. And it is an amazingly gorgeous cover. I love this cover. And it portrays the character perfectly well, especially with the sword. The sword is a very prominent part of this book, the whole storyline, and it's amazing. This is the biggest book that I had on my TBR, and I flew through it. It did take me 6 days to read completely, but it was like 4 days of proper reading, because I did take a day out of reading, which didn't hinder my progress whatsoever. I think I mentioned I gave it 5 stars, but just in case, I gave that book 5 stars. The final book that was on my TBR was Giant Days by Alison and Temran and Kogan. This beautiful cover. It is on my tablet because I read it as an ebook. I gave this, I'm not going to keep it on because it's very bright and it's just going to cause a whole lot of problems. I gave that graphic novel a 2 stars. It fulfilled the prompt for a book under 150 pages or a comic / graphic novel, which that was, and it was 112 pages, so it fit the prompt either way, and that was for an E in Charms. I gave the book 2 stars. I didn't hate it. I thought it portrayed friendships in a really good way. However, I didn't understand the point in the graphic novel. I will not be carrying on with the series, to say the least. I didn't understand the need of it. It literally just follows these teenagers. I'm assuming they are partway through their first year at university in the UK, and that's about it. There's no drama. Well, the only drama is one of the girls gets put on a list, and then they get kicked out of the university. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, 4 different things happened in the entirety of 112 pages, and it made no sense whatsoever. And them 112 pages, I think, were about 4 days. I don't really know, because there was no time scale. I just didn't like it. Don't take that to mean that it's not good. For me, I just didn't enjoy the story. I didn't understand the story. So I gave it 2 stars. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So yeah, that concludes my wrapping up what I needed to get my Magizoologist career for the newts. So I have it. Yay, I passed. However, I do still have 15 days left of the month. So I've calculated. If I read a quarter of a book a day, I can read 3 more books and it will take me 12 days, giving me 3 days to do whatever else. So, I have selected 3 more stories. They technically are stories, but I've selected 3 more books, and they are going to finish off my Charms, finish off my Herbology, and start History of Magic, because I took History of Magic in the Owls as well. So, to finish off Charms, to get an O in Charms, is to read a paperback book. And for that, I have selected Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. I believe this was Golden Compass originally, but it's had a title change. This is the first book in his Dark Materials, and it's been on my shelf for a little bit of time now. I don't think it's been on there for ages, but I do want to pick it up. I want to read the series, and then I want to get on to La Belle Sauvage, that spin-off. So yeah, I'm going to read this. It's not too long. It looks massive, but it's like just under 400 pages. So yeah, this is going to be one of my 10 reads for the month. To finish off Herbology, I would need to get an O, which is a book with a flower on the cover, and for this I have picked 3 Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake, because it has a lot of roses on the cover. This is following 3 sisters who I believe, have to fight for the crown, fight for their place to rule the kingdom. And I've heard a lot of good things about this. Reagan from Prue's Project raves about this series, and I trust her opinion. Every book that I've read that she's read and loved, I've read and loved. So I think we're just into the same reading style, essentially. I read a lot of fantasy, so does she. So I'm going to give this a try. I do have the first and second book in this series, so I'm hoping I like it, obviously. Yeah, so I'm going to give this a go for one of the 10 books that I'm reading this month. Finally, to kick off reading History of Magic is to get an A, and the prompt for this is very simple, and it's to read a fantasy book, and for that I'm going to read The Wicked King by Holly Black. This I want to read A, because I loved The Cruel Prince, B, because The Queen of Nothing comes out in November, and I am so excited for The Queen of Nothing to come out, and I think that was 2, and C, because I am really looking forward to reading this. Some people say they don't like it, but for some reason I tend to like books that people don't like, on top of reading a lot of fantasy. So I feel like this is going to be a good pick. And it's really short, so I should be able to fly through this. I think it's like 200 pages, 300 pages, just over 300 pages. So this I will probably be able to fly through. So that is everything. And I will address one factor. In one of the videos that I've uploaded, I did say that I would be doing reading vlogs for the newts, and I have completely just forgot to do it, and I've read the 7 books that I originally selected for reading this month, and I think I have 1 clip, so there's just no point in me carrying that on. So what I'm going to do is this, essentially, where I film telling you what I gave these books and adding the other 3 on, just so there is a video out of my newts progress. And then once I finish these books, I will again do another update saying I read these, this is what I gave them, and then and that might just be, if depending on how long it takes me to read them, I may be selecting one more book, which would go again towards History of Magic, which would be E, a book including a map. So that is why I'm filming this video, essentially. I feel like because I've forgotten to film the vlogs, it just makes sense to film this video. That is that anyway. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, and if you've got any questions about the books that I've read or the books that I'm about to read, please ask me in the comments if I didn't give a good enough synopsis of anything, or if I didn't give a synopsis and you want to know anything about it, please just ask in the comments below. Also, if you have any information on how I can make my videos better, please tell me. I do want to make my videos better. I know they're not fantastic. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!